Aye.
All those opposed? Table. Moving to new business item C.
I need to table items C until after executive session.
Motion been made to table item C by Kristen. Seconded by Dean. All those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Tabling passes. Item D. Room worker pay rates.
I just got this today.
Yeah, sorry, I did drop the wrong one.
I would like to move to table that after, for further study.
I know, I didn't go out and eat
Do we have to pay them?
No, not the case. All I did just from the last time is, like the 20 to 25, I just put one number. Cause that's what they had asked about at the committee.
I don't have a problem getting them paid now. But I would want this on the next meeting to decide it for next year. Because I have a couple of other thoughts that I've come up with. And I don't want to ever hold somebody's paycheck.
No, and that's, I guess I thought we'd already agreed to pay them how we were.
We paid the fall workers, and now I got the fall workers. We paid the fall workers hourly,
Okay.
but then we wanted to not pay them hourly, so I started working on this.
What I would like is, and I can make this motion to approve paying them on the old system, so that's done. And then and this goes to the next meeting, because I wanna have a discussion about this.
If you want. If there's no more workers, essentially until July, we make the wedding.
But we're gonna have workers, because we have the track and the golf coaches, and
You know, try to do all things.
we have none.
We don't have all.
Yeah, we have a golf meet here.
I think. I don't have any more.
Once we pay the winter sports, we're done. I still don't want it to, I don't want it to wait, because if it waits, then we're gonna be in the same boat a year from now going, oh, well, we're gonna just pay them to get them paid, and we still didn't decide anything.
So with that, I'll rescind my motion to table. I'll make the motion to pay winter sport workers as presented and revisit said worker pay raise at the April meeting, regular scheduled April meeting.
Second.
Seconded by Dean. Any further discussion?
So we're gonna pay them what's on this table.
Okay. Is this
For the
a
work?
new table or an old table? The second tab is just for March.
We gotta pay them at the same table as what we paid the fall workers.
Yeah, we paid them hourly last go around.
Then in my mind, we need to pay them hourly as well, because that's what we set that standard already for the year, and it's a budgetary year. Get them paid, and then we must visit this at April.
So this goes into the next season. So this year we'll still pay them all hourly.
The January table is what we're proposed.
Did they keep track of their
No,
hours?
whatever table we use
Pay hourly like we did.
in the fall, volleyball.
Table that.
I don't, so we paid them like $11. Yeah, $11.50 an hour.
Yeah.
Because these are all
It's on the
emails.
table.
It's not sure. I'm looking at.
We would table this completely.
This proposal will be taken. So that's what you take until April. And, they would be paid hourly according to how we did it in the fall.
So we're just gonna, we're just paying them what we've been paying them.
Yes.
Any further discussion?
It would be more than the 11.50 an hour we paid the other ones.
The last one that said minimum wage plus 50 cents.
That's what we said, and then okay, that's where, thank you for the clarification, I get it.
And since
Yeah.
minimum wage went up, it would be.
Yeah, 26 now, yep, I'm with you, thank you.
We will proceed to vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. New business item E, first reading of policy ABAA R1, Title I guidelines.
So we, a few months ago, guys, we talked about how the policy committee was working to, one, visually update all of the policies to make sure that they were all in the same format, and then just go through and make sure that everything was. So we've got that going. You're gonna see a lot of policies coming through. So this one,
so exciting.
yes, this is one, that we didn't.
So we had the Title I policy, but this is the guidelines that go along with it.
So a lot of these, especially like the ones that you're gonna see that are the R ones. We'd have the first policy and it would reference the like the R ones or the E ones, and we wouldn't have those. So. You know. And we'll make sure that they are published in the policy recommendation on the website.
Any thoughts on reasons item E? Seeing none, we'll move to new business item F. First reading of policy ABAC.
This is another policy we're gonna have it, kind of gives guidelines as to what is the school district's responsibility and what is the responsibility of their guardians.
Was there a way? I mean, don't we do a student handbook? Still? It's small. This would be a great policy to attach to the handbook, not as as a reference for the parents, because once again, the soapbox for me is I struggle sometimes making PTCs due to work schedule and what other parents do. And it's been a deal for years of how we do it when we do it. I'm more for more time, which I know the staff doesn't like being here late multiple nights, but and then I struggle arguing on my behalf at times due to lack of parental performance. So in addition to this or part of this policy, I'd love to see part of this policy stating that each parent shall receive one copy of this every year. And maybe it'll put their butt in gear, put a policeman behind it, so they show up and do something as well.
Anything else for item F? Seeing none, we'll move on to item G, first reading of policy ACE 1, non-discrimination complaints.
So G and H kind of go together. We have a non-discrimination policy, but we do not have the complaint forms that go with it. So this is adding the complaint forms.
Any thoughts there on G? Seeing none, we'll move on to H, first reading of policy ACE2, non-discrimination in federal programs, complaint appeal to superintendent.
Same thing, it's just another complaint form, goes along with the same policy.
Is there gonna be, who would they file with? I'm reading on them, like,
It specifies in the
AC, the principal, I believe, is the,
The first one, G, well, and then H, and then it's the superintendent.
Yeah, and you're talking federal programs, so we would start with the federal program.
right, and isn't the, I believe the principal always has to be that person.
No, it's a federal, I think it's assigned.
Against the person. So it's my own.
Yes. But
It's
does
a
it,
harassment when it's just.
because it can't be the superintendent.
So
Nothing. My only thought on that would be maybe a little more clearness on how we file two. Cause I mean, as I read them, I'm not real sure if Dean was harassing me in that fashion, who I would fill this out.
Yeah, it's
Been stalking already.
in the original policy, it specifies.
It does,
It-
okay.
Mhm.
So these are just the
These are
actual.
just-
They're just-
That's policy, yeah.
We just don't have the corresponding forms though,
Okay,
as a part in our.
we did cover that. Wonder are the directions small enough they can be included on the actual form then? For people like me who don't read the whole thing like they should have.
It's probably like 9 pages long.
Who you
The
file to?
policy,
Yeah, I mean, is there one
like simplify it, you mean?
just to who you hand it to? If they read it, but if they read it and were intent on it, then it should be clear. Never mind them.
Yeah.
If they're unclear, they don't usually be dealing with this, to read through the entirety policy and contact the school about their. Procedure.
It's listed in the
Yes.
policy, that's probably.
Yeah. Gotcha.
Any other thoughts on H? Seeing none, we'll move to new business item I, first reading of policy ACAA, R1, sexual harassment regulation.
Again, this is the regulation policy that goes along with the existing sexual harassment policy we already have.
So it's a no. Seeing none, we'll move on to item. First reading of policy. Trying to keep track, sorry. Item J, first reading of policy ACAA E1, sexual harassment complaint form.
This would be the first complaint form that someone would file for any sexual harassment. It's so many steps.
Thoughts on that one? Move to item K, first reading of policy ACAA E2, sexual harassment complaint appeal to superintendent.
This is the form that we have, second one that would go to superintendent.
Thoughts? Questions, comments? Seeing none, we'll proceed to L, first reading of policy ACAA E3, sexual harassment complaint appeal to school board.
This is the last one that we need appeal to us.
Seeing no thoughts, we'll move on to item M, first reading of policy ACAB, prohibition against abiding, aiding, or abetting, sexual abuse.
This one's kind of self-explanatory, and it's one that we didn't know.
Thoughts, Larry? All right, moving on, item N, first reading of policy ACB, non-discrimination on the basis of handicap disability.
This is also one we didn't have.
Seeing no thoughts, we'll move on to item O, first reading of policy AE wellness policy 2026.
This one was updated. Update the title because it was previously titled ABA, which is taken by tobacco and tobacco free school. And there was titles and names in there that had to be updated. So,
All I noticed is your table of contents, needs to map, like, I love you cut stuff, but there's not 19, there's not even 16, there's 13 pages. So, just make sure. And get all that switched.
Any thoughts on the wellness policy and those updates?
We took the names out,
We took the
right?
names
Like,
out,
it's just the
the title.
title.
So it doesn't have to be updated.
That was, in essence, the only updates.
Mhm.
Really don't recall. Once upon a time, we went through that, there was something we left out to help the food service.
Yeah, we didn't add anything in.
As long as you have a wellness, you have to have a wellness policy, but we can't, but. Yeah, we can.
There was, that was quite some time ago. We left something out so we could serve better tasting food.
Okay.
So if you didn't put it back in, then
no, we,
And it's pages longer than like the policy on
yeah,
the actual policy. It's very short. This is very long compared to what we have to have.
We're not going to it, that we just cleaned it up.
Any other thoughts on O? Seeing none, we'll move to P, first reading of policy AEA, tobacco and vaping preschools.
This one we already had, but it's since been updated on ASB, to include vaping in the verbiage.
Aligning ours with that. Any thoughts there? All right, move on to Q. First reading of policy AF, dangerous weapons in school.
this is one, we had policy in J, is that right? But that one was specific to students having dangerous weapons in school. This is specific to anybody having dangerous weapons in school. Which I think is pretty important that we have. For everybody, yeah, so. That's what this is.
But isn't that somewhat of a contradiction when you have the sentinel? So you're contradicting policies already that, because there's already a federal law that you can't even conceal carry out of school. Yeah, but my question is, we're making a policy that says nobody. And then yet over here we have a sentinel.
Oh, I know, but
It doesn't, this one doesn't just include like firearms, though.
But still, it's a preventative measure. I mean, you only want to use the secondary.
I just threw that out there.
to make sure that it's,
I have.
I don't think that it's so restrictive that. I think we're still good to, what am I trying to say?
It-
It won't make it so that we can't still have our different guys.
No,
It's,
No.
if that, there's an exception.
Do that, but what I'm talking about is a confusion point when people
Yeah.
read it, that it's not a standard. And I guess, so you said it's an expansion of what a dangerous weapon is, so what are you saying?
No, so we were confused because there's another dangerous weapons in school, but it's students having dangerous weapons in school, and that's in J.
yeah.
So I just brought that up and I probably just like muddied the waters this policy is expands it from it being just us having a policy against students having dangerous weapons in school, which obviously students shouldn't have. This one says, like, parents, guests, anybody that comes to our school. Now we have a policy specifying that they cannot have dangerous weapons.
This policy also cross-references state law and federal law. There's literally a line in here that says there's an exception for firearms under the control of law enforcement personnel. Which yes,
I haven't fully read it.
Yeah.
This is the first
So-
reading, so.
that's why,
Yeah.
I agree, and I thought about that, but there's a line that literally says that.
The only policy that we
It's in the one, yes, I will.
specified
You don't need to read
was
it.
only applicable to students. Now I don't have a policy that is applicable to everybody.
So in this, it's maybe. South Dakota Codified Law 1332-7 says that we have the discretion to grant permission for certain individuals to have a firearm. But if we allow it, we need permission to be in writing. With state law STCL 2378.6 says we can't have written permission. I mean,
Our teachers,
in- for sure, do we have written permission that we allow him in here? With a gun? I'm not saying it's a bad deal, I'm saying the way our state laws are, we're gonna be in violation. I mean, our own policy lists we're in violation. If we follow one codified law, we're in violation of the other codified. And I mean,
So you're saying the last codified law listed under the contradicts?
according to how it stated, it says that we cannot keep written records of who we allow to have a gun in school. But the other codified law says we have to document whoever we allow to have a gun.
I think this is,
Something to look at for the next reading.
Yeah, I mean,
Is what it comes down to.
well, just see, this is, we didn't come up with this verbiage.
this comes
This
from.
is from the Associated School Board of South Dakota.
So I would ask them for clarification, because they're flat out, I mean, that's how I read it, is that by following the law, we're breaking the law.
Well, I do see the differences like concealed carry versus enhanced concealed carry. Is the versus from written permission versus. So that's probably the difference. But I'll look at
We'll look at it next time.
Yeah, no, that. I need to have somebody show up with a, and then I don't know, I can just see, it's awful money the way they gave it to us.
We'll look at it.
Other than that, anything else with you? Seeing I'll move on to R, first reading of policy AHE1, conflict of interest disclosure.
These forms we had, in our policy, but they were in the sample format taken from Associated School Boards. So we updated them with our district specific information.
the format, the NEWELL heading, and other stuff.
Yeah, because it literally said sample, do not use.
Any questions there? Seeing that, we'll move on to S, first reading of policy AHE2, school board action.
This is the same thing.
Heading, whatnot. Any thoughts on S? Seeing none, move on to new business item T. We'll do this in two parts. Approve administrative recommendations for personnel. We'll see with T.A. the resignation of Kimberly Bachman, the K-12 music teacher.
I move to approve resignation of Kimberly Bachman.
Motion been made by Kristen, is there a second?
I'll second. The question,
Seconded by Dean.
is this a resolution at the end of the year? I'm assuming it's the end of the.
Proceed to vote, all those in favor?
I'm,
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving to new business item TB. And employment of Jennifer Severson, temporary custodian, Molly Mose, golf coach, and Luke Bowles, field assistant golf.
I'll move as stated.
Second.
Motion been made by Todd, seconded by Dean. Then we will proceed to vote. We will roll call. Amber?
what, sorry. Ron asked me a question. Sorry. Did we, she was just asking, I thought we hired a custodian, did we not? Or did we?
What, there was circumstances that we know.
Okay, so they're not here anymore. This is another.
We don't.
This is an additional one.
Oh, okay, okay. I just was confused. Me too. Sorry. I didn't know we were.
No.
Aye.
Todd?
I,
Katie? Kristen?
I refused.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
I was just confused.
Now entertain a motion to go into executive session.
Under executive session for South Dakota Codified Law 1-25-2. 1.
Motion been made by Dean, is there a second? Katie? Seconded by Katie. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Board water, executive.